Max Scherzer's disastrous outing leaves the Mets one loss away from elimination in a best-of-3 wild-card series. Over the winter, Mets made ace Max Scherzer the highest-paid player, on an annual basis, in baseball history by giving him a 3-year $130 million contract. He was the biggest signing in the second year of owner Stephen A. Cohen's overhaul of a franchise that had endured more than its fair share of headaches and losses over the years. Despite missing 9 weeks of the regular season with injuries, Scherzer, 38, was stellar on the mound. And in the clubhouse, he helped change the Mets' culture and became one of the key leaders that guided them to their first playoff appearance since 2016. Tabbed with the Game 1 assignment on Friday in the Mets' best-of-3 wild-card series against the San Diego Padres, Scherzer failed to deliver in his role. In fact, he produced the worst postseason start of his decorated 15-year career in the Mets' 7-1 loss. In his 27th career postseason appearance, Scherzer coughed up 7 runs and 4 home runs. And as he trudged off the mound in the 5th inning, Scherzer was showered with boos from the sellout crowd of 41,621 fans at Citi Field. In the span of a few innings, the vibe in Flushing went from deafeningly loud to eerily quiet as the Padres repeatedly rocketed balls into the stands. "I'm disappointed," Scherzer said. "Baseball can take you to the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, and this is one of the lowest of lows." The 101-win Mets are now on the verge of elimination. By losing their division, the National League East, to the Atlanta Braves in the closing days of the regular season, the Mets earned the top wild-card spot, of 3, in the playoffs. And in this year's new postseason format, that meant hosting the second wild-card team, the 89-win Padres. Despite the presence of multiple star hitters this season, the Padres at times struggled to produce a consistent offense. That was the case even after the August 2 trade deadline, when they pulled off a blockbuster trade for Washington Nationals superstar Juan Soto and the standout first baseman Josh Bell. After joining the Padres, Bell hit .192 with 3 home runs. During that same span, his fellow outfielders Jurickson Profar, .213, and Trent Grisham, .144, also struggled. But against Scherzer, all 3 looked like sluggers. With Profar on base after a single in the first inning, Bell clobbered a Scherzer fastball over the plate into the left field seats for a 2-run home run. Grisham did the same to a Scherzer offering, but to right field for a solo blast in the second. Despite trailing by 3-0, there was plenty of time for the Mets. Their offense is built around hitting for average and getting on base, not necessarily smashing the ball over the fence. They were tied for 15th, out of 30 teams, in home runs during the regular season, meaning a comeback wasn't as likely to happen quickly or forcefully. Despite trailing by 3-0, there was plenty of time for the Mets. Their offense is built around hitting for average and getting on base, not necessarily smashing the ball over the fence. They were tied for 15th, out of 30 teams, in home runs during the regular season, meaning a comeback wasn't as likely to happen quickly or forcefully. The Mets all-star outfielder Starling Marte tried his best to provide a boost in his return from a fractured finger that had kept him out since September 6. Despite wearing a splint and still feeling discomfort, he singled to lead off the second inning and stole 2 bases. But going along with the theme of the night, his teammates failed to drive him in. Staked to a big lead, Yu Darvish, the San Diego Padres ace, neutralized the Mets' offense for 7 innings with his wide array of dipping and cutting pitches. With 2 runners on in the 5th inning, Profar punished another Scherzer mistake, sneaking it over the right field fence for a 3-run blast. After they scored, Padres shortstop Ha-Seong Kim and Profar each put a finger over their mouths, as if to further silence the already quieting crowd. 2 batters later, the boos came after Scherzer surrendered a line drive solo home run to Padres all-star third baseman Manny Machado. As Mets manager Buck Showalter ambled toward the mound, Scherzer kicked the pitching rubber and flipped the ball into his glove. He handed the ball to Showalter and dejectedly walked toward the Mets dugout. After an exciting regular season that rekindled hope in a fan base that had grown accustomed to watching other teams play in October, the Mets are one loss away from the return of that disappointment.